Welcome to RFG. RFG Foods is an internationally recognized producer of convenience meal solutions for customers throughout South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and in major global markets. Based in Groot-Drakenstein in the Western Cape, South Africa, RFG has a well-capitalized production base comprising 14 manufacturing facilities across South Africa and a fruit processing facility in Eswatini. All operations are well located close to sources of raw materials and end markets. The product range includes canned fruit, jam, vegetable and meat products, bottled salads, fruit juices, fruit purees and concentrates, dry packed foods, fresh and frozen ready meals, pastry-based products and dairy products. The RFG Juices plant is situated in Wellington in the Western Cape. When entering our site, please make sure you have filled in the register or that you have been scanned in. You will be instructed as to the access control process. You may be subject to random searches and/or a breathalyzer test. You will then be asked to watch this video and complete induction training. Induction training is required for all employees, temporary workers, and contractors. Training will cover basic company rules, food safety and hygiene practices, allergens used on site, and health and safety rules applicable to the site. The emergency procedures and equipment will also be briefly explained. If you are a visitor, please stay with your host at all times. The following protective clothing is to be worn continuously in the production facility: a mop cap, beard cover if you have facial hair, white food safety jacket, arm covers or an apron when working in wet areas, gumboots or safety shoes, depending on the internal department, and earplugs in a noisy area. Remove all jewelry including wristwatches, religious bands, traditional bands, chains, wedding bands, rings, beads, rubber bands and earrings. Only a medical alert chain around the neck is allowed. Personal items should not be kept in pockets on entering the production area. For example, wallets, matches, cigarettes, medication, lip balm, sweets, cell phones, or money. Personnel should leave these items in their provided personal lockers. Visitors and contractors can hand this in at reception for safekeeping. The use of cell phones inside the production area is prohibited. All fingernails must be short, clean and free of any nail varnish or henna. No false nail tips or false nails are allowed. No excessive makeup may be worn when directly handling products. Too much makeup can find its way into the product. The wearing of false eyelashes is not permitted. No excessive strongly scented aftershave, perfume or hand creams may be worn. Perfume influences the smell and taste of foods. Spectacles must either be worn or carried in a case. They may not hang around your neck or in your pocket. Report any medical conditions, injury, cuts or wounds, or any skin conditions before entering the factory. Cuts or wounds are to be covered with a plaster provided by the first aider and a glove if the injury is on the hand. All persons entering the plant are expected to wear the provided clean protective clothing. The protective clothing must be worn in a manner that prevents personal clothing from being in contact with the product or product handling surface. All personal clothing and items must be safely stored in lockers in the change room areas if you are an employee. Protective clothing is not allowed to be taken off-site or be privately laundered. The following protective clothing must be worn and be worn in the correct prescribed manner. 1. Overalls as identified per category of persons. 2. Mop caps and beard covers or masks as required. 3. Earplugs in indicated high noise areas. 4. Gumboots or safety shoes. Clean gumboots or safety shoes must be worn, depending on the internal department. All hair and ears must be covered by a mop cap, and they are to be worn correctly, as indicated. All personnel and visitors entering the production areas are required to wash their hands. Use the provided antibacterial hand soap to wash, dry hands, and then sanitize before entering the production area. No spitting, coughing, or sneezing over open product is allowed in the factory or warehouse area. If you sneeze or cough, turn your head away from the product. Use your shoulder or elbow to cough or sneeze into. No tasting of any product or ingredient. Licking of fingers or touching your face in the factory is allowed. No eating, drinking, or chewing of gum is allowed inside the facility, except in the canteen. Note that you are entering an allergen-free area. The following is not allowed on site: peanuts and derivatives, sesame seeds and derivatives, tree nuts, almond, hazelnut, cashew, pecan nut, Brazil nut, pistachio nut, macadamia nut, and Queensland nut. Cereals containing gluten, wheat, rye, barley, oats, spelt kamut, and their hybridized strains, crustaceans and mollusks, egg and egg products, soya beans, milk and milk products, mustard, celery and celery products. Specific hazards of the environment. Stay alert and look out for moving equipment, such as forklifts. Never attempt to operate such equipment without the necessary training and authorization. Ensure that you adhere to the prohibited items policy, such as firearms and knives, and that you have declared all personal electronic items and tools taken with you on site, such as laptops. No alcohol or drugs are allowed on site. Intoxicated persons will be denied access to this site. Smoking is only permitted in the designated smoking area. Be careful when walking inside the factory, as floors are slippery and wet, and there may be spillage. Do not leave any product and/or equipment in a walkway. The motto is clean as you go. Everything has a place and everything in its place. Noise has the potential to cause noise-induced hearing loss. Our production facility is a noise zone. It is mandatory that you wear hearing protection in these areas. Be aware that you are entering an area where ammonia is used for refrigeration purposes. This is a dangerous gas, and emergency procedures for an ammonia leak should be followed in the event of a serious leak or discharge of ammonia. 1. Exit the area immediately. 2. Check the wind direction. 3. Go to the assembly point that the wind is blowing away from, not towards. 4. Wait for instructions from the evacuation officer. Permits are issued for the following jobs by the maintenance manager prior to the commencement of any work on site: hot work, working at heights, confined spaces, and electrical work. Never attempt to repair electrical equipment at work unless you are qualified and authorized to do so. Turn your machine off before trying to remove a blockage. Always isolate or lock out before repairing or cleaning. Always ensure your safety guards and devices are in place before startup. Never bypass a safety switch. Take note of where the emergency exits are located inside the facility. Note where fire extinguishers are located. These are indicated by signage. Familiarize yourself with the emergency plan, evacuation procedure, and fire procedures in the facility, as well as where the emergency assembly points are located. In the event of an emergency, follow the instructions of your evacuation coordinator in the area or your guide and make your way to the emergency assembly points where roll call will be taken. Visitors, report to the person you are visiting for guidance in this regard. All incidents are to be reported immediately to the area manager or your guide. An incidents form needs to be completed for any injuries on site. There are 5 different kinds of signage you need to look out for in and around the factory. Blue signs are mandatory. Yellow signs, caution. Red signs, danger. Green signs, emergency information. Blue and white signs, general information. RFG is aware of the impact our actions have on the environment, and as such, we have an aggressive environmental awareness policy. Please be aware of what you pour into the drain system. The most important point that must be remembered is that food safety and employee safety is not just the responsibility of management, but also the responsibility of each person working on site, as well as all contractors and visitors visiting our factory. Welcome to RFG, and remember, safety always comes first.